All right, welcome to another episode of the Beyond Sober podcast. My name is Cody Rain. It's been a little while, man. I haven't talked to you in a little bit. I've been busy, been doing things, been making magic happen, been grinding away in the Be So studio, dude. You know how it goes. You know what I'm up to. I don't stop, can't stop, won't stop, dude. And here's the trip, man. I've received hundreds of emails, dude. And I'm starting to recognize some pretty important patterns. A lot of people saying a lot of the same things, and they're not realizing what's beneath what they're saying. And they're continuing the same patterns, and they're doing the same things, and they're expecting new results, and they're feeling the same way, and they don't feel like they're moving forward at all. And that is common, right? That's to be expected. And one of the things that I've been posting about and really focused on is people thinking that sober is something that you're doing. This topic has been like really messing with me lately because people are starting to, and probably always have, I know I did it, they're starting to think and really kind of capitalize on sober being something that you're doing. It is not. Sober is not something that you're doing. You're either sober or you're not. You're either fucked up or you're not. And if you're not fucked up and there's no alcohol, no substances in your system, then you are the result. The result of not intoxicating yourself in one way or another is sober, okay? So you're either sober or you're not. There's no in between other than the 4 days it takes for the alcohol or substances to process out of your body, okay? You are detoxing right now, whether you like it or not. That's your liver's job. That's all it does. Its entire purpose in your body is to filter poisons and toxins and fats and all the things that don't necessarily need to be there. What do you think your pee is, right? What do you think fecal matter is? It is the stuff that your body doesn't need, or it's what's left over after extracting what your body is going to utilize. Now, with that said, a lot of people think that sober is a destination. People's personal perspectives on what sober is, how long it takes to get there, where it's at, where you left it, how to achieve it, none of that matters. That's just people assuming this science doesn't apply to them, and that's why it's fucking hard. The reason I say this is because, let me just bring this up. Let me share it like this, because I think you really need to hear this. I'm drinking zero sugar soda. Okay, I'm on a fitness journey, as you can tell. I am hydrated. Why am I hydrated? Because I consumed water. I consumed a hydrating fluid. Okay? When we relate that back to intoxication and sober in general, you are intoxicated. Why are you intoxicated? Because you consumed a substance that put you under the influence. Okay? Now, the misconception is thinking that we have to do sober to be sober. That's not how it fucking works. That's just not how it works. In the same way that I'm not doing hydrated, I am hydrated. Why am I hydrated? Because I hydrated myself. I did what was necessary to become a hydrated person. Make sense? So how does that relate to sober? Sober is the absence of intoxicating yourself. So when you do less of the intoxication, when you focus on taking care of yourself, when you focus on not healing, not fixing, not even optimizing, just not intoxicating yourself, you are sober. You're not doing sober. People continuously come up and they go like, I'm trying to do this sober thing. That's why it doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work because you think sober is something to do. It's fucking not. It's literally the absence of intoxicating yourself. And so when we look at sober as another fucking mission, as another complication, as another chore, as another fucking mountain to climb, we now sit here and everything becomes that much more complicated. I gotta drink my water because I'm doing the sober thing. No, you're drinking your fucking water because you're dehydrated. You need to hydrate yourself. Yeah, but there's no fucking buts. When you hydrate yourself by drinking water, you are hydrated. You're not doing hydrated. Hydrated isn't a state of being. It's a literal physiological reality that happens when your body has enough water. So is sober. when your body has little to no, like zero toxins, alcohol specifically, you are sober. You're not doing sober. You don't have to do anything for sober. But a lot of people, most people, as a matter of fact, I've been getting the emails, I've been seeing all the comments, people sitting there going like, yeah, dude, like just doing sober is just so fucking hard. You are complicating your life. You are making your life so much more ridiculously complicated. We have to simplify these things. You gotta simplify these things. Happiness is just life simplified, okay? We'll break it down like this. Happy people don't struggle with alcohol and substances and drugs and all those things. They barely struggle with toxic people unless they're family, and they're doing them a favor by allowing them in their life. What I mean by this is when you're taking care of yourself and you're focusing on evolving, you're focusing on your physical, mental, energetic, spiritual, financial health, and that has your attention, coincidentally, you are also sober. So you're not doing sober. You are sober while living your life. But here's the trippy part. This is why people continue to struggle, is they think that they have to fix their relationship with their family before they're sober. Even though there's no alcohol in their body, even though they're not struggling in the same way, even though they don't feel the same way, even though they don't even necessarily identify as an alcoholic or a problem drinker or a drunk, they still think that the recovery process has something to do with fixing what leads them to the drink. And in some instances, to some degree, it actually does. Because here's the thing. Just because you stop drinking, and I'll talk about this later, just because you stop drinking doesn't mean you're a different person. You are the same version of yourself, minus the alcohol, minus the reason or the tool that you use to get through the bullshit that bugs you. So when I talk about simplifying your life, I'm really saying stop giving a fuck. Who gives a fuck? Why do you think that matters? Why in the holy hell are you giving your energy to people you wouldn't even trade fucking places with, dude? They suck. Their friends suck. Their thoughts, their feelings, everything they're involved in suck. You know who they voted for. Why do you think you need to fix that relationship, or you need to make amends, or you have to apologize, or you have to like somehow seek some validation before you allow the emotion to dissipate from your body? It's just a chemical. It is just a chemical and a hormone that you're experiencing. When you look at this shit and say, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to give a fuck. I don't want to care about the shit that bugs me. The only reason it bugs you is because you choose to care. You're not obligated to care, dude. You're not obligated to give your emotions to anybody, to anything. That's including your thoughts, right? That's including your feelings. Just because your tummy hurts doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You're lactose intolerant, dude. You knew you didn't, sit well with dairy, yet you ate that fucking cheese anyway. You don't feel well. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean you're less sober. It doesn't mean you're not moving in the right direction. Everybody's out here trying to convince me, for some reason, that sober means happy. That sober means successful. That sober is like some astronomical fucking thing. It is not. It is not. A lot of people may hear that and get fucking triggered because it's difficult to stay sober. That's because they're not growing. That's because they're not giving their attention to what fuels their health and their happiness and their success and their abundance and their peace. A lot of people stop drinking and hate themselves and go back to hating the world and the government and all they think. They change nothing. Sober guarantees absolutely nothing. And this is why people go, I'm trying to do this sober thing. There is no such thing as a sober thing. Sober is what a majority of the planet is. You are sober until you fuck that up. You are not under the influence until you choose to intoxicate yourself. I mentioned this in another post, like if you go climb a mountain and you didn't put any alcohol in your body, you just did what a normal person does. That's it. You're just a regular dude that went and climbed a mountain. Did you go drive to the store and you weren't drinking? You didn't do something magical. You just did what everybody else does. You're not sober. You're a person. You're a whole human being doing what's required of you to fucking fill your refrigerator. You didn't go sober shopping. What the fuck are you talking about? You are not fucked up. Therefore, you're clinically, technically sober. But what are we doing latching onto this shit? You got to think of it like this. This is where the neurological construction starts to get a little sideways. This is why when I'm working with people, I'm like, hey, look, you can't talk like that and expect to like not care. You can't say these things and you can't look at it this way, because what happens is your brain associates this shit in a really abstract way, and it makes things that much more difficult. And here's what I'm saying. You can go to the store faded off your ass. You can go to the movies fucked up. You can go to a soccer game fucking high as shit. That is an event. That is something that you're doing. You are literally, you're looking at what you're about to do and go, you know what I want to do? I want to pre-party. I want to put a substance in my body. I want to take a pill. I want to smoke. I want to do this, that, and the other. You are now taking action to adjust the experience. You are attempting to enhance your perception of the experience. So you're not doing a sober game. You're doing a fucked up game. You're getting fucked up and then going to the game. The game exists. The store exists. The show exists. People exist. The world exists. Whether or not you're fucked up. It's weird that we sit here and go like, I'd rather be fucked up and then go shopping. I used to do that all the time, dude. Years. There was never one time I was behind the wheel and I wasn't intoxicated to some degree. My point is that when you're not doing that, you're back to being a regular human being. No person around us is going to go, good job, you're not fucking high. Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, that's true. But that only matters to you. Here's the other part. Now that I'm fucking freestyling this shit, you know, sober and dates and all this shit only matter to other people that think that's important. I don't give a fuck how long you've been sober. You suck. It doesn't matter if you're happy. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you're sober. It doesn't matter if you haven't consumed longer than me. It's been 9 years since my last fucking drink. I'm not an alcoholic. What are you talking about? I don't even need to talk about it. It's not even a thing. I don't even reference it. Yet everybody else that wants to post their sober dates wants me to ask me about mine like it matters. It doesn't. I stopped identifying as sober 8 years ago when I realized it was just a limitation. It was just a label. You got look at my body and go like, yeah, he's an alcoholic. What the fuck? I'm an alcoholic before I'm fit. I'm an alcoholic before I'm happy. I'm an alcoholic before I'm successful. I'm an alcoholic before I'm peaceful. I'm an alcoholic before Cody. Shut the fuck up. This is crazy shit. It's insane to think about, and people want to defend it and go like, yeah, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Once a dick, always a dick. Get that shit out your mouth, boo. Bro, you sucked it once. You must be sucking it forever. People suck, dude. And people want to really attempt to limit your ability to feel successful on your own journey. So when I talk about doing sober, the reason why it's impactful in the ways that it is because it's not the same. It's not the same as drinking. Sober isn't something that you're fucking doing. Hydrated isn't something that you're doing. Do you have enough breath? Yeah, you're not doing breathing. That's not something that you're doing. It's happening. It is happening whether you like it or not. You can't not do it. You get what I'm saying? It's like you're not like doing pizza, right? You wouldn't got a pizza. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at our own recovery from that angle, we go, okay, shit, I need to stop doing sober and I just need to be sober. Stop talking about it. Stop telling people. You can talk to yourself about it. But you got to remember this, dude. Like, the more you reference just the word sober, the more you trigger the loaded phrases that come along with it. So when you say you're sober, you're also saying that you have a problem. When you say you're sober, you're also saying that you're struggling not drinking. You know how many people I've met that have been like, 12 years sober, why are you fucking telling me this? Nobody even asked. Is that the only thing you're priding yourself on? Is the only way you get through the day is to remember that you've already achieved something 12 years ago? It's like people who fucking peaked in high school. Did you peak in sobriety too? Like, that's your whole fucking spiel? Is that you're sober? We don't even like you. You barely even like yourself, man. We don't care that you're sober. We care that you care about yourself. We care that you're happy or working on your happiness. We care that your health matters to you. I want to look at you and go, that person matters to themselves, dude. When I walk into a fucking room, people stop. They sit there and go like, damn, that motherfucker, he takes care of himself. Damn fucking Skippy. And it has nothing to do with not drinking. I drank until my liver failed. I drank until I was throwing up blood. My heart stopped. Cardiac arrest. The whole deal, boo. And that forced me to either give a shit or not. I chose to give a shit. And I haven't stopped giving a shit every single day since my last drink. And I'm never going to stop. Why would I stop? I can't get out of this life. I already died once and I'm still here. I might as well get into it, right? If I'm going to get into it, I'm going to get into it the right way. I'm going to get into it in a way that feels right in my body, in my world, in my environment. But a lot of people just want to go, well, you're forever fucked. You're forever an addict. You're forever... Shut the fuck up. That's not true. It's not even science. Now, if we want to talk about the science between once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, we can relate it back to once an asshole, always an asshole. Okay? Let's just say you were an asshole. Okay? I used to be an asshole, narcissistic, womanizing piece of fucking shit. Alcoholic that went along with it. Now, alcoholic, not in the sense that I drank a lot of alcohol all the time. Alcoholic in the sense that I literally physically had a dependency on it. I could not drink. Alcoholics don't want to drink. They fucking have to. In order to have a cognitive thought, in order to get through the day, in order to manage their life, they need to drink. They don't have the choice. They may be able to stretch it, but alcoholics don't have the choice not to drink. They have to drink, okay? I was a dickhead, man. I treated people absolutely horribly. I manipulated, I lied, I cheated, I stealed. I've been to jail numerous times. I've been arrested, 8, 9 times, dude? I got a fucking record. I couldn't even get hired at Mickey D's because I had a felony for defending myself. This shit is crazy. I was a piece of absolute dog shit. And I owned that. And it fucking hurt. I cried about it. I worked out about it. I talked to people about it. Oh my God, I dreamt about it. I've meditated on it, dude. I all the fucking things. You know why? Because I mattered to me. And if I want to be someone that's respected or appreciated or leaned on, or I want to operate as a leader, and I want to take advantage of my own life, I need to really fucking check who I became while I was drinking. Here's the trip. I'm not an asshole. I can be one. Don't push me. I'm not a dickhead. I don't mind being one if you're an ass. I'm not a womanizer. I have done that work. I'm in a happy, healthy relationship with amazing, amazing woman. And the babies. I work on this and I see this. All of this shit is important to me. So once a womanizer, always a womanizer? That's crazy. That's assuming that once you've done it one time, you're always going to be that person. You're always going to do it again. Just because one person cheated and the other person didn't, doesn't mean the person that didn't isn't capable of cheating. You don't have to fucking actually cheat to be a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. That makes sense from a safety and personal relationship perspective. Absolutely. If the person who cheated doesn't work on themselves and start figuring out ways to stay with themselves and to grow and to really practice their emotional intelligence and connect and create community and all these things, if they don't figure that shit out, yes, they're always going to be highly likely to look outside the relationship. But that doesn't mean they're incapable of change. So once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic is literally just saying this. You're always going to be someone that's going to prefer alcohol. That's it. That's what that means. And if that's what that means, then what they're actually saying is it's not fucking possible to become someone that doesn't want alcohol. So many people also want to take it, specifically AAers, these fucks. They want to go, yeah, well, have a sip of alcohol and see what happens. How about fucking no? I've learned, and so have you, that it's a gasoline. It's a carcinogen. It kills 3.5 million people every single year, probably more. There's a reason why sober fucking exists. It's because we're recognizing, from a global standpoint, that there are zero benefits, that it does hurt us, that more than one glass a week is just poisoning our brain and our body. So to say that, to attempt to shift someone's growth by saying that they're forever fucked is just trying to convince them that they haven't grown, that they haven't changed, that they haven't evolved, that they're never going to be a better person. They did it one time. You're going to do it every time. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. This is closed loop perspectives, man. This literally shuts down all of the efforts and all of the science and all of the biology that goes along with the evolution. You're growing, you're evolving, whether you like it or not. If you're listening to me or you're watching me right now, you are learning. You are growing. Your brain is hearing this. You are putting yourself in a healthy environment to challenge yourself. I may say something to you and it may trigger you. You may stop listening. You may talk about it in a week from now. And then one day it's just going to make sense. You go like, oh, he wasn't actually being a dick. He was just stating the facts. He was just bringing the truth to light. Right. You're choosing to grow. You're evolving. You are you plus this conversation that we're having right now. That's beautiful. You do not have a choice not to evolve. But here's where things get really interesting. And I've witnessed this and people have told me this, and a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it. They get in the way of their own growth. Touch your butthole, bro. Just touch it. It's not gay. Touch your butt. It's not gay. It's your butt. No, I don't. What, are you afraid to touch your own ass? Well, yeah, I mean, that's gay. Are you gay? No. Well, then touch your butthole. See how you're getting in the way of doing something that is totally innocent? Dude, wash your ass. Wash your ass. No, but I let the water run down. You're gross. You're fucking disgusting. Touch your asshole. It's gay. Yeah, you're gay. That's what it is. You're just gay. And you just say it. Do you see how something very simple that could be converted into controversial becomes this whole fucking conundrum on whether or not you can touch your butt? Bro, this fucking nuts to even think about. You stop yourself from receiving information that can help you understand more about yourself and your own biology. Just touch your butt. It's fucking nuts. It's nuts to even think. There's so many people out here afraid to even get to know themselves, afraid to even dabble. And it's this fear of change. It's this fear of getting to know what's underneath. Or more importantly, the fear of discovering what we're truly capable of keeps people from evolving. They develop these very, very specific stories and beliefs. These beliefs become written into their psyche. It is a guiding force in which they interpret the world. This tattoo says perspective, okay? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. But people are afraid to change the way they look at things. Therefore, they're always going to remain the same. They're going to defend the belief systems that helps them feel like they're in control. Even though they were never in control, they can't be in control. The only thing that's constant is change. Everything's constantly changing. You're changing. You're not the same person as you were before you started listening to this, before you started watching this. You're different now. Do you get it? So people that are saying this are trying to convince others that once an alcoholic, you're always going to be an alcoholic, and if you have one drink, you're forever fucked and all this shit. Those are the people that are afraid to do the work and realize that they were always wrong. That belief helps them stay where they are. Do you have any idea how many people who are afraid to do the fucking work? They don't want to do the work. You're a lazy fuck. You do not want to do the work. And this is most people. Most people don't want to do the work. This is why when I'm meeting someone, I'm like, holy shit, you showed up, bro. You showed up. Well, a lot of people cancel. Like, I'm sitting here waiting for you, ready to fucking work with you, and you don't even show up. You didn't even cancel. No call, no show. All right, but you showed up. Holy shit. You're at the top of a very short list of people that give so many fucks about themselves that they're willing to show up and meet some random guy off the internet. Whoa, that's not fucking crazy, man. That's super crazy. I love that for us. Now we get to grow. Now we get to have these conversations, which is really, really beautiful. That's what a mentorship is. I'm learning from you. You're learning from me. We're growing together all day, the whole time. That's evolution. The only way that doesn't happen is if we cancel or we stop or we reschedule or we prevent it or we make excuses or we say it's our anxiety or whatever it is. If we get in the middle of our own evolution, then we're always going to be fucked. We're always going to be the person that we don't like. More importantly, you're going to be the same person that's one emotion away from picking that fucking drink up. If you don't give yourself permission to grow and evolve, you're always going to act and operate and think and feel like an alcoholic, a problem drinker, a drunk, a fucking addict. All of that is just neurological wiring. That's myelin. That's coding your fucking, your synapses, man. Your brain is coded in a fucking substance that hardwires and introduces speed in which these thoughts can fucking occur, dude. It is science. What you say changes how you feel. How you feel changes what you do. And if you change and shift and grow, that means you're going to have new thoughts. You're going to feel new feelings or familiar feelings in a different way. And you're going to take new actions to make you feel and think and do and feel and think and do and feel and think and do. And you're like, holy shit, I'm not an alcoholic. I was acting like one though. Damn, I was talking like one. I was thinking like one. I was operating like one. I felt like one, but I never even developed an addiction or a severe dependency. I just had a real aggressive preference and it helped me get through the day. I was fucking sad, right? If you felt better, you would do better, dude. You got to remember, fixing your drinking, dude, isn't fixing who you became while you're drinking. This is a really, really big topic, dude. You got to remember this, dude. I say this in the program. What you practice while you're drinking, you're going to master while you're sober, okay? I don't care if you're playing baseball, you're talking shit, you're reading a book, you're listening to a podcast, you're cooking, whatever it is. If you practice something while you're under the influence, you are actually challenging your brain to work harder to make that true. That's because alcohol and substances are like a numbing agent. So I want you to think of if you're cooking, right? If you're cooking, you have a buzz all the time. Your brain is learning how to write those codes and fire those codes. It is wiring itself for the environment. The environment is you basically swimming in that substance. So because that substance is there and you're performing the work, those codes still have to fire. You got to keep in mind, you don't accidentally do shit. You see what I'm doing with my hands? I talk about it all the time. I didn't know I was doing this. My brain is sending signals to my fingers to do this. I'm not even, now I'm doing it on purpose. I have to take control, okay? So you're cooking, but you're always drinking. You're playing baseball, but you're always drinking. You're golfing, you're always drinking. You're in a relationship, but you're always drinking. Your brain is wiring these pathways that is basically coding the way that you perceive and the way that you operate. Your brain is it's adapting to the environment. The environment is under the influence. There's extra tension. It is slower, okay? The information coming in, your perception is shifted a little bit. The data that we're receiving isn't accurate. The reality that we're in isn't accurate. Think of it like this. If you had to start cooking underwater, imagine how difficult it would be. But your brain and your body would adapt to cooking underwater. Maybe you just had to cut a piece of bread. Maybe you had to cut some carrots or whatever it is. Your brain and body would start associating the floating away, the pressure differences, the temperature differences. You will eventually learn how to cook underwater. Maybe you can't set a fire, but my point is you will figure it out. Your brain's entire job is to do that. So if your life or the way you perceive yourself or the way that you operate is under the influence, that means your brain is coded to that. That becomes who you think you are. And more importantly, because that becomes so familiar, you start to gravitate towards that when you're not drinking. You don't feel like yourself. And the reason for that is you're no longer under the influence for the most part, or you're less under the influence. And those same codes are trying to fire. And they're firing all squirrely now because you're not intoxicated. But the second that you become intoxicated, all of those codes start to fire normally. Boom, back on track. You can cook, you can do all these things. This is adaptation. This is what happens with all substances. Your brain's not the special one that can't do that. You're equally as human as every other person, which means you have the same exact brain that struggles and adapts in the exact same way as every other person on earth. So your personality, the person that you practice being, is coded into your brain. This is why when people do sober, they don't like themselves. They don't like the way they think. They don't like the way they feel. They don't like what they got themselves involved in. They don't like the promises that they made that they're not delivering on. None of it feels real. I had someone reach out and go like, hey, when does the derealization go away? Are you practicing saying new things, doing new things? Are you challenging your brain? Cognitive resistance? Are you doing anything? No. Well, you're always going to feel like this, bro, for the most part. You're the same person you were. Just nothing makes sense because you're not faded anymore. The second that you decide to put the substance back in your brain, everything's going to make sense again. Your brain hasn't wired itself to this reality. You spent decades, months, years creating a false reality, and your brain did everything it was supposed to do to make it accessible, to make you capable of experiencing it without hurting yourself for the most part. You got to keep in mind, if everything's doing this all the time, if everything's wibbly wobbly, it's going to be pretty damn difficult to get things done. So your brain has to adapt to the wibbly wobbly so things appear to be more stable. This transmutes into when people stop drinking. So the reason I say that science, the reason I talk about the realities of that is because you pick up very specific personality traits when you're drinking. Most of the time, the people that I'm working with, including myself, we pick up the negative ones, man. We pick up being short-tempered. We pick up being an asshole. We practiced the cheating because we were fucked up. We practiced the womanizing when we were fucked up. We practiced the insults when we were fucked up. We practiced the arguments when we were fucked up. We did that so often and even defended our actions for the most part that it became pretty much who we were. But this is the interesting part. This is why it's so imperative that we understand that just not drinking isn't good enough, okay? That doesn't mean you're going to be stuck in this crazy loop forever and ever and ever. It means that the work is in the reconstruction. Recovery is simply identity reconstruction. It is becoming and practicing being the person you actually want to be. Otherwise, you're going to sit here and your brain's going to be hard-coded to be that short-tempered asshole that you were when you were drinking. You're still going to be sad, minus a coping mechanism. You're still going to have these wandering thoughts. You're just not going to have a buffer unit to dampen the anxiety. So who you practice being while you were under the influence isn't who you are at your core, but it is who your brain is programmed to operate as. It's like a computer program, dude. You wired your brain to think and act and do a very specific way, in very specific things in unique ways based on your environment, your brain being the environment, your body being the environment. And now that you're not in that environment, those codes, those programs are still trying to run, but they don't have the data. There's nothing to bounce it off of because you're sober. Fucking awesome. The way we want to take this information is going, all right, I need to audit myself. I need to really look at me. I need to go, all right, I say these things and I feel these things and I don't like that and that's not who I want to be. Last time I did this, she said that, he did that. I'm not trying to fucking argue. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be an asshole. That's just something that happens, especially when I drink. Okay, if I don't like that and I don't want that and I don't want that to be who I am, then it's not that I need to stop doing that. It's that I need to start being more patient with people. Okay, that's what I want to do. The next time I'm in an argument or the next time I'm feeling flustered, I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to let the person know that I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm trying not to argue. I'm trying not to express myself outwardly. I'm not trying to have an outburst. I'm feeling some kind of way. My heart's already pumping. I already want to ruin your life. I already want to take it 10 levels, but I want to start practicing not giving a shit. Or if I do give a shit, I give a shit in a very different way, okay? I'm going to take a breath. Okay. All right. That's a practice. That is something that your brain is actually going to use. It's going to go, oh, we're doing something new. Yep. This newness, we do it again and again and again. Oh, we have to adapt. We have to change. Yep. You don't have to change. Your brain is automatically going to do that for and with you. We're doing something new. You used to argue. You used to say a bunch of fucked up shit. And now you're either saying less fucked up shit or you're taking a little bit more time. You're being a little bit more involved. And if you do choose to say something, you're saying something that's a little bit more constructive. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen with every single trigger. Every single time you get triggered, you have the option. Act like that dickhead that you were when you were drinking, or act like the person you prefer to be when you're not. If you don't adjust based on the information, you're always going to be an alcoholic. You're always going to be an asshole. People are going to go, hey, don't mind Cody, he's a dickhead. Yeah, don't take what he says personally, man. I know. That's just Kyle and fucking Josh, dude. Like, That's just how he is. You know, we didn't want to invite him, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a little, you see what I'm saying? You want that to be you? That's fucking nuts. That's gross. When people have to like preemptively prepare people for your existence because you refuse to fucking grow. That is nuts, bro. But there's a lot of people that don't mind that. A lot of people don't mind the edification. A lot of people don't mind, you know, those stories being told about them and whatnot. And that's okay. You keep being you, you keep doing that shit. But my point, this is what the program's all about, is helping you wire yourself, reconstruct that identity, become someone that doesn't need a drink, doesn't want to drink, and couldn't fathom poisoning themselves. That's why you're not going to fix yourself by not drinking. You don't automatically fix the version of you that drank by not drinking. You have to become someone that actively picks up water and soda and juice and everything else when the exact same circumstance arises that would have led you to a drink, man. It's powerful stuff, man. It's when I'm describing it with all the words, it sounds like a lot more than what it is. It's really just a practice, man. I talk about this in the book, chapters like 24 through 26, but then it's also modules 5 and 6 of the program. Okay, people think stopping is a transformation. It's not. It's just when the real work begins. This is very true. I hear this all the time. Someone just commented this. I go, sober is not the end result. It is a result to the end of intoxicating yourself. It is a result that is the beginning of the rest of your life, man. I always say this, man. Sobriety doesn't guarantee happiness, but happiness guarantees sobriety. I've been saying this for years. Sobriety guarantees nothing, but without it, you don't stand a chance, man. You just don't. A lot of people want to argue, and they go like, well, you know, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I drink, you know, blah, blah. You're not. You can't be. It's not possible. You could be recognized on a scale, a clinical scale, as a person that could be considered healthy and also consumes alcohol. Are you as healthy as you can be? Is it possible to be healthier than you are right now? Yes, if you're drinking. If you're drinking a poison, one glass every 2 weeks, if you're drinking any more than that, you're actively poisoning yourself. You're actively throwing yourself off a cliff and wondering why things still hurt. Once you reach a pure state of sober, which only takes 4 days, it only takes 4 days for alcohol to process 100% out of your body. And at that point, you're just as sober as anybody else on the planet. Clinically sober. You could be going through withdrawals sober. Withdrawals happen because you're sober. They continue happening because you're getting sober. Do you get it? Withdrawals don't mean there's alcohol in your body. It means there's none. And if there's no alcohol in your body, you're fucking sober. That's just how it is. Sober is sober. So somebody who hates themselves, that's yellow in the hospital, that's dying of liver failure, whose future looks absolutely horrendous, pancreatitis, hepatitis, ascites, esophageal varices like me, can also be sober. Sober does not mean not yellow. Sober means there's no alcohol in your body. Sober doesn't mean happy. Sober doesn't mean shit. It means not under the influence of alcohol, not drunk. But people want to really, truly overcomplicate that. So we look at this and go, all right, we'll just relate it back to my story. Once my liver started failing and all that stuff, I was sober. My start at sober was horrendous. I lost my ability to walk. I couldn't think. My brain was filled with ammonia. They put me on 19 pills, dude. Surgery on my throat. My heart stopped working for a sec, dude. They had to pull me back to life, put me in ICU, all this stuff. Sober. I was sober when all this stuff happened. That's the insane part. That's the crazy part that people don't get. Sober doesn't mean anything other than not intoxicated or not under the influence. Just because there's some remnants in your hair follicles, in your blood, and in your urine doesn't mean the levels of intoxication are enough to impair your ability to think and act and do. Sober means you're not fucked up. That's it. But sober is just the beginning, especially if you've spent a majority of your life under the influence, right? Most people drink to act normal. They drink to feel normal. They drink to do whatever normal people do. The unfortunate part about that is it's a slow suicide. It's slow death. It's slow self-sabotage. That's masked as growth. It's masked as pleasure. It is masked as numbness. It's masked as low anxiety when it's not. It's wrecking our lives. It's wrecking the lives around us. We all know this. You know this. You can't not know this, dude. One of the craziest comments I got recently was some girl go like, I never understood sadness. I don't really like being sad. That's why it's called sad. You're not supposed to like being sad. That's why it's sad. You think you're supposed to like being sad? Well, when you say it that way, what do you mean? You don't even understand your own emotions, dude? It's sadness. How else do you describe it? It's a pit of despair. What does despair mean? Oh my God, read a book. You're not supposed to feel good all the time, at all. I've written about this. People think they're not supposed to be in pain. That's crazy to fucking think about. The default level of pain could be 0, but that's never a human existence. Something's under pressure. Something hurts all the time. That's life, dude. You're going to burn yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to feel sad. You're going to watch a movie. Someone's going to say some shit. You're going to feel some shit. Your hormones are going to shift. You're going to feel funny one day and great the next. That's life. That's human. That's what you're supposed to feel. But when people stop drinking, they think the sadness is a problem. They think that because their hormones are balancing, that there's something wrong with them, that they are unique. I got to say this, dude. Thinking that you're the one that can't do it and trying to convince people that your circumstances are so fucking unique that there's no solution for you is some of the most narcissistic shit I've ever fucking heard, man. Thousands of times. I've worked with people thousands of times, thousands of conversations, one-on-one, just like this. And the amount of people that have told me that they're the one that can't do it, they are the genetic anomaly. Their environment is so unique that it's just really not possible for them to do what every other person on earth can do. That is extremely narcissistic, and it comes from a place of pain. Happy, healthy people don't think narcissistic thoughts. They don't operate in narcissistic ways, but alcohol makes people act narcissistically. When I talk about identity reconstruction, I was 100% operating like a narcissist. I didn't even know that word existed until I got into recovery. And then I started studying narcissism because I was working with so many people. I'm like, oh my God, I acted just like that. I thought just like that. I felt just like that. I did just like that. Holy shit. Alcohol turned me into a narcissist for self-preservation. Holy fuck. That's how people viewed me. But I got away with it because I was drinking. I had that excuse. Oh, I was fucked up. Oh, I was faded. And so my narcissism was just survival. I didn't want to be wrong. I don't want to know these things. Nope, you're wrong. You can't gaslight. All the things. All of the things. And then in recovery, I said to her, I was like, oh my God, I wasn't a narcissist, but I acted narcissistically. I don't like that. I don't want that. Hell no. Fuck that. I got to shift. I got to change. I want to grow. I don't like that. I don't like the way I felt when I did those things. I got to do the opposite. So I go back to going sober is just the start. Sober gives you a blank slate for you to evaluate what you don't like and do something with that information. Instead of looking at what you don't like, what you don't prefer, what happened to you, what you keep telling yourself, and then using that to punish yourself, thinking that the pain is supposed to be there and you're supposed to ignore it with the substance, and then just continue digging a bigger hole that you don't have the strength to get out of on your own, that's bananas. But sober, the state of sober, it gives you that leg up. Once you're out of that hole, which once again only takes 4 days, then you're in a position to evaluate and get involved with books and programs and content and all of the things. That is recovery. That is healing, okay? That's why we want to go, all right, I know getting sober, which only takes 4 days, is just the beginning. What do I want to do after that? What am I looking forward to? What am I expecting? What do I want? Not what I don't want. The amount of people that start talking to me and they go like, well, I just don't want to feel bad anymore. I just don't want hangovers. I just want, oh my God. And they're talking about all this negative shit that they don't want. Bitch, your fucking brain doesn't know that you don't want that. Your brain just goes, it doesn't hear, listen, this is science, this is neuroscience. No, I'm sorry, don't, and the word stop. Your brain doesn't comprehend that. For those two words to understand or to make sense, it needs context. The context that's provided for the words don't and stop comes after those words. Your brain basically disregards the words don't and stop unless it's really a fucking emergency. So when I say don't, your brain wipes that away, and then it hears, think about elephants. Now your brain, it needs that reference. It needs to know what to don't. Don't. And then it hears, think about elephants. Now you're thinking about elephants. You're already thinking about it. Don't think about alcohol. Now I got a picture of alcohol. Now I thought I wasn't supposed to do that. Don't do that. Don't do what? Don't think about alcohol. What alcohol? Alcohol. Now your brain is sitting here stuck in this loop, and you're wondering why you can't stop thinking about alcohol. It's because you're focused on what you're not supposed to be giving your attention to. This is neuroscience, dude. This is how the brain works. Same with stop. Stop doing that. Doing what? Punching me in the face. Oh, now I have a reference. Stop. Stop what? Punching me in the... Stop drinking. All your brain hears is drinking. So when we understand that when we start talking to ourselves or start getting excited about not doing something, like not drinking, I don't want to drink. Cool. Well, fucking stop. You could stop. Start something else. We have to be thinking in a forward perspective. We have to be sitting here going, it's not that I'm trying to stop something. I'm trying to start something else. You want to finish that race, you have to start this other race. You don't put this down, you pick that up. In order to pick this up, that has to drop. You only have enough hands for one of these tools. But focusing on putting the thing down isn't the same as focusing on picking the new thing up. So when we're in that space and going, sobriety is just a start, and I'm starting to get excited about picking up new things, doing new things, feeling new things, experiencing new fucking things. That is usually the shift where people go, oh, I get it. It makes sense. Okay, let me try this. This is why a lot of the homework, I'm like, hey, go do this thing and let me know how it goes. You go focus on this and tell me how it went. You got to audit yourself. You got to shift the way you talk to you because you're listening to yourself think, man. But this ties directly into who are you becoming now that you're not drinking, dude? Who do you want to be? One of my favorite things, one of my favorite revelations is realizing that the person that I was trying to reach when I was drinking is this guy. I felt in my body as big as I look right now. I was as confident with 2 shots of Jameson as I am right now hanging out with you. I walked into rooms with no anxiety, no social anxiety. ADHD disappeared. I didn't even know I had it back then. So now I practice meditation and train my brain. And when I walk into rooms, I have little to no anxiety. When you are drinking, you know what your perfect buzz is. You know how you feel when you've reached normality. And what we want to do when we're not drinking is attempt to create that without the substance. Most of us go like, that's impossible. It's impossible to be nice. It's impossible to create peace. It's impossible to enjoy yourself. It's impossible to feel calm. What do you mean? That's the illusion that alcohol provides. We think that the only way we're going to feel confident in our own brain and body is if we dramatically change every single thing about us. If we shift into an entirely different person that we don't even know. That's not how it works, man. We had to practice being someone that had the anxiety and wasn't working on it. We had to practice being someone that ran away from, deep emotions and didn't solve them. We had to practice being someone that became an escape artist and didn't want any confrontations and just ran away every single time and just drank about it. You had to practice. You had to do those things. And in doing those things, you wrote the codes, you became the person, and you operated as that person that you designed. So my question is, who are you becoming, or who do you want to become now that you're not drinking? What aspects of the sauce, of the drink, did you appreciate the most? And then take that and go, what am I doing to create that without drinking, without a substance? How do I actually achieve that without infusing a neurotoxin and imbibing a drug? There is nothing that alcohol or substances give us that we can't generate on our own. That's the illusion. The anxiety and all that stuff, people go like, what about the anxiety I'm going to get when I'm a healthy person? Most healthy people don't get anxiety. And if they do, it is very short-lived. They don't really get nervous. They get excited. They don't really have stomach problems because their gut microbiome is pretty much worked out. I take a little tiny vitamin for that. Easy peasy. I don't have to numb the pains anymore. As a matter of fact, I like the pains. Everything hurts. My titties are on fire because I've been putting in work. This work is transformative, right? The mission isn't to transform, and you don't need to know exactly where you're going. You just need clarity. That's why I have so many conversations. Because I'm sitting there going like, right, I see. So it sounds like you want more peace in your life. It's not that you want him out. It's that you want to be someone that can handle the stresses of life. Got it. So here's what we want to do. Now we're in action. Now we're practicing being someone that can handle those stresses, that is operating from a state of confidence, that has a stack of undeniable proof that they are who the fuck they say they are. And they feel better about themselves. They no longer feel like they need to escape or run away or get involved with something shitty or allow, people to overstep their boundaries and all of those things, man. But here's the whole point. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're drinking or you're not drinking. If you are not attempting or interested in growing as a person, just keep drinking, dude. If you think this is all there is, dude, if you think you peaked in fucking high school and that's the end of your education, you're tripping, dog. There's a whole fucking world that is meant to be experienced and you're allowed to experience it. Yeah, but there's no buts except that fat ass is getting bigger because you won't fucking move your ass. You can do anything you want. You're the reason you're not doing anything. Nobody's out here forcing you to do anything. No, you got a job. You chose that job. You chose that partner. You chose those fucking friends. You could choose a different partner and a different job and different friends in a different town and a different state. You could choose a different fucking planet. We just went to the goddamn moon again. You are not the one that doesn't have the options, but it does. You are the one that's limiting your ability to dream bigger. Where you are is not the end game. You literally are allowed and encouraged to say, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out. You could change anything. But that's kind of scary because we sit here and go like, yeah, but what if it doesn't work? What if it does? What if it does work? What if you realize that you just needed to be near the beach? What if you realize that it was actually your partner and their low vibrational energy that was fucking with your entire psyche? And now that it's not low vibrational, you feel like you could breathe again. Now that you could breathe, you feel like you're alive. Now that you're alive, you feel like you can travel. Now that you're traveling, you feel like you have purpose. Now that you have purpose, you feel like you're doing something of value. Whoa. But we are the ones that stop us from doing all of the things. So once again, who are you becoming? Or who do you want to become now that you're not drinking? Now, this cycles back. This will be the last topic that I referenced for today. I want to talk about relapse, man. And this is the loop that so many people don't even talk about. And I referenced it earlier, and it directly ties into everything that I've been talking about. First off, we need to talk about the difference between a lapse and a relapse, okay? A lapse is going 30 days, having a drink or drinking for an evening, and going back to not drinking. That's it. That's a lapse. It's like, think of it like walking. You were walking just fine, and you tripped over a fucking curb. You lapsed on your walking journey, okay? You were doing fine, and then something happened. Somebody told you to fucking, step up on that curb or whatever it was, or you found a stair, or maybe there was a stick, or you tripped over your shoelace. You had a perfect 30-foot walking journey, and then you lapsed. You had 30 steps, and then you tripped. Same concept when it comes to substances, okay? That is a lapse. People think, and people have been conditioned, specifically AAers out here that want you to be afraid of your own fucking brain. They call that a relapse. That means you've lost everything. The last 30 days or 30 steps don't count. You're back to day one. You've lost all of your progress. That's not science. That's not reality. That's not how it fucking works. How on earth can you lose 30 days of evolution and health and growth and adaptation in one fucking night, dude? Are you really discrediting your body that fucking hard? Dude, I had stage 4 cirrhosis. I just got my labs back. You can't even tell. You really fucking think that you lost 30 fucking days of success because of one night? That's crazy shit. That is insane to fucking think about. And if somebody is out here trying to convince you that you have to start all over and you fucking drink yourself back to day one, fuck them in the face. Fuck those people. They need you sick so they can continue winning. If they're on their sober journey and you fucking lapse, they feel better. It makes their success look that much greater. Anybody that's trying to make it seem Like your efforts are either going unnoticed, not fucking good enough, you don't have what it takes, you're not strong enough, whatever the fuck. They are pieces of shit. Fuck them. Fuck everything they stand for and their families. Their friends can fucking go too. No healthy person that knows what the fuck they're talking about is ever going to try and make you feel bad for choosing what was right for you in the fucking moment. If having a drink got you to the next day, word on ya, mates. I'm fucking proud of you, dude. Let's keep going. On to the next. Now we can grow. Now we can learn. That's a part of the process. And more importantly, we need to understand that it's not about going sober. It is not about being fucking sober. It's about being a healthy person. Healthy people drink once a month. Healthy people don't try and drink alcohol all the fucking time. They're too busy taking care of themselves to consider fucking all that up. If you went 2 days, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, 30 years, and then decided to have a fucking drink or 10, that is considered a healthy relationship with alcohol. That's the point. Some people's relationship with alcohol is so healthy, they don't even have a relationship. Like myself, I don't have a relationship with alcohol. That's how healthy my life is. Some people have a very minimal relationship with alcohol because the majority of their life is healthy as fuck. So to beat ourselves up or to discredit ourselves because we decided maybe I've gone long enough, let me try it out and see if anything's different. Bro, that's what the fuck? That is crazy shit. Now, if you have an addiction, that's a problem. You got a dependency, that's a problem. If it's a problem. If you're back on track and you're good to go and your life isn't diluted now, if you're not digressing, if the rest of your life doesn't look as bad as it was, you're still in a good place, dude. If you had an addiction and decided to dabble and you're back on the fucking wagon, that's the game, dude. You could just give the fuck up, but no, here you are, back on the fucking wagon. You taking care of yourself, you realizing you matter, you striving towards more. This is the whole point. This is the realities, okay? Since that drink, or since your last drink, if you don't do anything with your state of evolution, if you don't focus on challenging your body, the stresses of life are going to lead you towards your preferred coping mechanism, which is usually a drink. If you're not focused on your mental health, your emotional health, then you're one emotion or trigger away from needing a fucking drink. Remember, your chances of lapsing and relapses skyrocket if you choose to do nothing since your last drink. This is where identity reconstruction is. When you're triggered and thinking about that drink, there's nothing wrong with you because you're thinking about the drink. There's nothing wrong with you if you choose the drink. There's nothing wrong with you to start with. But you have to have that fucking trigger. And now is your opportunity to go, fuck that, fuck them. I'm not giving hell no. I'm not giving up my state of being. I'm not punishing myself on their behalf. I'm not going to drink this shit because they're a fucking asshole. How much power do I want them to have? It's these triggering moments where the tears flow, dude, and the pains get fucking real. And you're really stressed out. That is when we have the opportunity to wire and fire new codes that anchor us into who we want to be. Relapse doesn't have anything to do with addiction. It has everything to do with identity. If you identify as an alcoholic who will always be a fucking alcoholic, you're going to prove that true. If you are an addict and you keep calling yourself an addict and you're not doing anything to prove that false, you are going to operate as an addict first. These subconscious and subliminal pressures create stress. And one more stress, one more straw, one more circumstance leads you back to your practiced and preferred coping mechanism. This, just because someone lapsed doesn't mean it's indicative of them having an addiction or being dependent or even having a problem. Sometimes the appropriate solution is a fucking drug, dude. This is the human experience. Sometimes a fucking shot off someone's titty is the best idea at the time. There's nothing wrong with that if you're not hurting yourself or somebody else. But my point with this is relapse happens because we're refusing to grow. You got to remember, the longer you go between drinks, the more evolution is happening. The more realities are taking place. The more your brain and body is adapting. So we're not sitting here going, I have to stay away from alcohol a certain amount of time before I become someone that doesn't want it. No. I know people that started working with me and then within the first week, boop, figured it out. They lost their desire for alcohol. They never craved it again. Same thing happened for me. The doctor said, Cody, if you drink, you die. And I said, well, I don't want to do that again. Boop, my brain just shut it off. Never once have I wished I had a fucking drink like that. Never once was I dabbling. I had an addiction to 30 to 50 shots a fucking day. And when the doctor said, dude, you already died. If you drink again, you're going to die. And if you think about drinking, you might as well just go to the bar right now and get it over with. My brain was like, nope, done. Done. That's all it takes. So it's not about the time. It's about the energy. It's about the effort. That's why the books and the programs and coaching and all that stuff exist. Is so you have a better leg into this fucking race. There's no end, by the way. But here's the last part. A relapse is when things come back and they get worse. Okay? You probably lapsed. We've all fucking lapsed. I just explained that. A real true relapse is you pick up the substance, you pick up the drink, and you can't put it back down again. Now you're starting to drink yourself back into a worse circumstance. I've worked with plenty of people who have lapsed and gotten better. And then I've worked with people who have actually relapsed and needed to get into the fucking hospital. And now we're talking to doctors and nurses and psychologists and all these things. And we're trying to work on medications and all this stuff. Some people actually fucking relapse. That's probably not you. So the whole point of this entire episode is really to just bring some reality, bring some truth to who you are, where you are, what you're doing, what options are available. That's what the Beyond Sober program is. It is every tool, every resource, every community, every opportunity I wish I had when I was a full-blown addict, when I could not live without alcohol, dude. 30 to 50 shots of alcohol every single fucking day, 2 bottles minimum, partying, rave life, DJ life, drug life, all that shit. I partied a majority of my life until my heart literally stopped. Beyond Sober is designed to provide access to not just concepts, but the actual intellectual and psychological tools that help you reconstruct yourself into someone that couldn't fathom consuming alcohol. That's its whole purpose. Someone asked me yesterday, what's the point of this? I want people to have access to what is required to evolve. A YouTube video isn't going to fucking do that, right? Maybe you're going to get some insights from a book, which I provide there. But my point is I want to make sure that you feel safe enough to evolve. You feel confident enough to grow, that you're not the one limiting your own success, man. And if you have any questions, you have any concerns, you want to chat it up, dude, I meet with every single person that joins the Beyond Sober program, and there's no charge to sign up. You can keep it if you like it. If you don't like it, don't even trip. But don't fear yourself, and don't let your embarrassment of what you think is unique stop you from reaching out and getting support, man. I'm not going to judge you. Dude, I've done shit I'll never talk about, man. I know what it's like to be afraid of asking for help, but if you don't ask for help, you're literally fucked. The best of us, the healthiest versions of us, ask for help. We reach out. We at least get our hands on a resource. So if any of this feels right in your body, beyondsoberpro.com, right? Take a look. Or beyondsoberpro.com/start. Take the quiz, man. beyondsoberscan.com. Dude, answer 5 questions and I'll point you in the right direction. I'll even send you a personal email based on the answers that you've provided, dude. I will look at all of your answers and I'll kind of psychoanalyze where you're at and where I feel that I was in reference to where you are and point you towards a resource that's in the highest alignment with how you grow and how you learn and what might actually impact you the most. So don't be afraid, man. With that said, Antonella, what's up, girl? What you doing, guys? See you over there? You're amazing. I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You are the best. Hey, don't be afraid to take care of yourself, man. And if you have any questions, Cody@rvyne.com, RVYNE.com. You're the best. I love you. And I will see you next time.